Be me. 22-year-old tech support guy who fixes computers for beer money, working at local computer repair shop that smells like burnt circuits and broken dreams. Typical Tuesday afternoon when this girl walks in looking like she just fought her laptop and lost. She's got this gaming laptop that's making sounds like a dying robot from a low-budget sci-fi movie. Starts ranting immediately without even saying hello. This thing cost me $800, and it can't even run Chrome without sounding like a jet engine taking off. I take the laptop and pop it open. Dust everywhere like the Sahara Desert decided to have a family reunion inside her cooling fans. Tell her it needs a deep clean and thermal paste replacement. How much is that going to cost me? Quote her $60. She looks at me like I just quoted her the GDP of a small European nation. $60? For what? Wiping dust? This is exactly what I'm talking about with capitalism. Oh boy, here we go. She launches into a full TED talk about how computer repair is a scam designed to extract money from people who don't know better. I'm just standing there holding her dusty laptop like a prop in her one-woman show about economic inequality. Finally managed to get a word in and tell her I can show her how to do it herself if she wants. Her entire demeanor changes instantly. Wait, seriously? You'd teach me instead of just taking my money? Shrug and tell her, yeah, why not? I've got nothing better to do until my next customer shows up. Spend the next hour teaching her how to disassemble a laptop without turning it into expensive modern art. No, she's surprisingly good at it. Once she stops ranting about how thermal paste probably costs 2 cents to manufacture. Name's Claire, by the way. Found out when she had to sign the waiver saying she won't sue us if she breaks her own laptop. She's a grad student studying economics, which explains literally everything about her personality. Quotes Marx while removing RAM sticks. Complains about Silicon Valley while reapplying thermal paste. It's like watching someone from a punk rock documentary perform laptop surgery. Her laptop is running quieter than a library at midnight when we finish. She's genuinely excited about it, like she just discovered fire. This is amazing. I can't believe I've been paying people to do something this simple. Resist urge to point out that most people value their time more than $60. She asks how much she owes me for the lesson. Tell her it's free, just trying to stick it to the man or whatever. She actually laughs at that. First time she's smiled since walking in. You're pretty cool for someone who works for a corporate repair chain. Want to tell her we're literally a mom and pop shop, but decide to take the compliment. She leaves with her laptop, and I go back to my regular day of replacing broken screens and removing viruses. Think that's the last I'll see of her. Wrong. 2 days later, she's back with a different problem. Her laptop won't connect to Wi-Fi anymore. Turns out she tried to upgrade her Wi-Fi card herself and installed it backwards. Physically backwards, like she fought the laws of physics and lost. I watched a YouTube tutorial, but they didn't mention which way the card goes. Spend 20 minutes fixing it while she rants about how Wi-Fi cards should be designed better. Why isn't there a universal standard? This is planned obsolescence. They want you to mess it up so you buy a new laptop. Gently point out that there literally is a universal standard and she just ignored it. Well, they should make it more obvious. Not everyone has an engineering degree. She's studying economics, not engineering, but I let it slide. Fix her Wi-Fi situation, and she asks if I want to grab coffee as a thank you. Usually I'd say no because mixing customers with personal life is asking for trouble. But she's interesting in a chaotic kind of way, so I agree. I'll end up at this hipster coffee place where everything costs more than it should and tastes like someone's creative interpretation of coffee. She orders something with oat milk and complains about dairy industry subsidies. I order regular coffee because I'm not trying to make a political statement with my beverage choices. We actually have a decent conversation once she's not angry at inanimate objects. Turns out she's pretty funny when she's not in full activist mode. She tells me about her thesis on market failures in consumer electronics. It's basically an academic paper about why everything I fix for a living is designed to break. Can't even argue with most of her points, honestly. She asks what got me into computer repair. Tell her I liked taking things apart as a kid, and this seemed like a way to get paid for it. So you're perpetuating a system that profits from planned obsolescence. Almost spit out my coffee. I literally just taught you how to fix your own laptop for free. How is that perpetuating anything? Fair point. You're one of the good ones. Feel like I just got approved by some kind of anti-capitalist certification board. Coffee date ends, and we exchange numbers. She texts me 2 hours later asking about RAM prices. Why does 16 gigabytes of RAM cost the same as 32 gigabytes did last year? This is price gouging. Explain to her about market forces and supply chain issues. Get back a 5-paragraph essay about how Nvidia and AMD are running a cartel. This becomes our thing, apparently. She texts me random tech complaints, and I either fix them or explain why they're not actually corporate conspiracies. Most of the time, it's both. But a week later, she invites me to study at her place because her desktop is making weird noises. Show up and her setup is actually pretty impressive for someone who installed a Wi-Fi card backwards. Dual monitors, mechanical keyboard that sounds like a thunderstorm, RGB, everything. Nice setup, very gamer. I'm not a gamer, I just need the processing power for my statistical models. Her desktop is running what looks like Minecraft in the background. Sure, very statistical. She doesn't even try to deny it, just starts explaining the economics of in-game trading. The weird noise is just her hard drive dying a slow death. Tell her she needs to back up everything immediately and get an SSD. How much does an SSD cost? Pull up prices on my phone. She goes into a rant about how solid-state drives should be cheaper now that the technology has matured. She's not wrong, but I'm not sure what she expects me to do about global semiconductor pricing. Help her back up all her files while she makes us dinner. She cooks surprisingly well for someone who spends most of their energy being angry at economic systems. Makes this pasta dish that tastes better than anything I've eaten in months. You're actually a really good cook. Thanks. I refuse to participate in the restaurant industry's exploitation of workers, so I had to learn. Of course, that's her reason. We eat dinner and watch her backup progress bar move slower than continental drift. She puts on this documentary about tech company monopolies. It's basically everything she's been telling me, but with production value. Fall asleep on her couch somewhere around the part about Amazon's market dominance. Wake up to her throwing a blanket over me. You fell asleep during the best part. Which part was that? The part about how 5 companies control 90% of cloud infrastructure. Check my phone and it's past midnight. I should probably head home. You can stay if you want. The backup is only halfway done and someone should monitor it. Terrible excuse, but I'm too tired to care. End up staying over and wake up to the smell of coffee. She made breakfast, which is just toast, but it's the thought that counts. Backup finally finished around 3 a.m. according to the logs. Help her install the new SSD I ordered on Amazon, which she paid for while complaining about Amazon's labor practices. Her computer boots up in like 8 seconds now. Like she's amazed like I just performed actual magic. This is incredible. Why didn't I do this sooner? Because you were too busy writing papers about why technology companies are evil. They are evil, but I appreciate the speed increase. This becomes our routine somehow. She finds problems with her tech, I come over and fix them. She cooks dinner and rants about capitalism. My roommate Alex thinks I'm dating her. Dude, you're over there like 4 times a week. I'm just fixing her computer. For free, while she makes you dinner. That's called dating. Insist it's not dating because we haven't even kissed or anything. That's because you're both nerds who think computer maintenance is a love language. Alex might have a point, but I refuse to acknowledge it. Claire invites me to her friend's birthday party. I show up and immediately realize I'm the only guy there who isn't wearing a vintage Banta shirt, ironically. Everyone is drinking craft beer and discussing student loan debt. Feel like I walked into a political science convention. Claire introduces me to her friends. This is the guy I told you about who taught me how to fix my laptop. Her friend Maya looks at me like I just revealed I can perform surgery. Wait, you actually know how to fix computers? Like not just turning it off and on again? Explain that I work in computer repair, which is literally my job. That's so cool. Can you look at my phone? The battery dies in like 3 hours. Suddenly I'm doing free tech support for everyone at this party. One girl wants help with her printer, which is the devil's own creation. Another guy needs his external hard drive recovered. Someone asks if I can hack their ex's Instagram. Have to explain that I fix hardware, not commit cybercrimes. Claire rescues me from the tech support queue by dragging me to the kitchen. Sorry about that. I didn't think they'd mob you for help. It's fine. Happens every time people find out what I do. She hands me a beer that probably costs more than my lunch. You know what's funny? We're literally in an AI-generated green text right now. Almost dropped my beer. What? Think about it. Quirky tech support guy meets economics girl who rants about capitalism. We're basically a story someone prompted ChatGPT to write. Look around the party like I'm expecting to see the fourth wall. That's a weird thing to say at a party. Everything's weird if you think about it long enough. We're electrical signals in meat computers, pretending reality is real. How many of these expensive beers have you had? 3, but I'm not wrong. We could literally be code right now and we'd never know. This is too existential for a birthday party. Change the subject by asking about her thesis. She launches into an explanation about market failures that would make my eyes glaze over if she wasn't so passionate about it. There's something attractive about someone who cares that much about anything, even if it's supply chain economics. Party winds down, and I offer to walk her home even though she lives 4 blocks away. Such a gentleman, very chivalrous for someone perpetuating capitalist systems. You literally paid me $0 for like 20 hours of tech support. I'm basically a communist. Communism is when free tech support. The more free tech support you do, the more communist it is. She's laughing at her own joke, which makes me laugh. Get to her building, and there's this awkward moment where neither of us knows what to do. Thanks for coming tonight. My friends really liked you, even though they used you for free labor. It's fine. I'm used to it. You shouldn't be. You should charge people for your expertise. I'll send you an invoice for the last 3 weeks. I'll pay it in dinner and emotional support. She hugs me goodbye, and it lasts just long enough to be significant. Walk home wondering if Alex was right about the whole dating thing. Get a text from her an hour later. My monitor just turned purple. Help. Send her troubleshooting steps while lying in bed. But she sends me a selfie of her monitor, which is indeed very purple. Unplug the HDMI cable and plug it back in. That worked. You're a wizard. I'm really not. That's basic stuff. To you, maybe. To me, it's witchcraft. We text back and forth until 2 a.m. about nothing important. My roommate is definitely right about this being a relationship. Too tired to care at this point. Fall asleep with my phone in my hand like a teenager. Next morning, my boss Marcus calls me into his office. He's this old school tech guy who learned computers when you had to actually understand how they worked. So I've been noticing you've been coming in late a lot lately. Explain that I've been helping a friend with tech issues after hours. A friend, huh? Is this friend a girl by any chance? Marcus has been married for 30 years and thinks he's a relationship expert because of it. Maybe. What does that have to do with my work? Nothing as long as you're still doing your job. But son, take it from me. If you're fixing her computer for free, you better be getting something out of it. We're just friends, Marcus. Sure you are. That's what I said about my wife before we got married. Now she's got me fixing the Wi-Fi at 2 a.m. because Netflix is buffering. Go back to my workstation feeling like I just got relationship advice from my dad's generation. Claire texts me asking if I'm free this weekend. Depends. What broke this time? Nothing broke. I actually wanted to show you something I built. Now I'm curious because she's usually breaking things, not building them. They show up Saturday afternoon to find her apartment covered in computer parts. Did your PC explode? No, I'm building a new one. Well, trying to. She's got parts spread out on her dining table like she's performing an autopsy. There's a motherboard, a power supply, and what looks like she bought every RGB fan Amazon sells. I watched tutorials and read about thermals, and I'm pretty sure I can do this. Look at her pile of components, and notice she bought a CPU cooler that's bigger than her case. Claire, that cooler won't fit in that case. What do you mean? The website said it was compatible. Compatible with what? The International Space Station? She checks her order confirmation and realizes she bought a full tower cooler for a mid-tower case. This is exactly what I'm talking about. How is anyone supposed to know this stuff? By reading the specifications? You know those numbers you keep calling artificial scarcity? Those numbers are designed to confuse consumers. Spend the next 4 hours helping her build a PC that could probably run a small data center. She insisted on getting the most powerful components because, quote-unquote, she needs it for her research. Your research is Excel spreadsheets and PDF files. You don't need a graphics card that costs more than my rent. But what if I want to run machine learning models? Do you know how to run machine learning models? I could learn. That's not the point. The point is she wanted a fancy gaming PC but won't admit it. We get everything assembled, and the moment of truth arrives when we press the power button. Nothing happens. Claire looks devastated like we just failed to launch a rocket. See? This is why I hate technology. It's designed to not work. Or you didn't flip the power supply switch. Flip the switch, and suddenly Christmas lights have nothing on her RGB setup. PC boots perfectly, and she's more excited than a kid on actual Christmas. Oh my god, it works. We built a computer. You mostly watched me build a computer while providing economic commentary. I handed you screws. That's helping. She's not wrong technically. Boot into BIOS and start configuring everything. Explain what each setting does while she takes notes like this is a college lecture. Why do you need to configure any of this? Shouldn't it just work out of the box? It does work. This is just optimization. Optimization for what? To make RAM companies richer? Speaking of which, why is RAM so expensive now? Here we go again. Supply and demand, Claire. There's a chip shortage. Caused by artificial scarcity and corporate greed. These companies are probably sitting on warehouses full of RAM driving up prices. That's not how chip manufacturing works. You can't just warehouse semiconductors like canned goods. That's what they want you to think. Install Windows and watch her face go through the 5 stages of grief when she sees the price of a Windows license. $120 for an operating system? This is insane. This is robbery. This is everything wrong with software licensing. You could use Linux. I'm not that desperate yet. Spend another hour installing drivers while she makes dinner. She's gotten really good at cooking, or maybe I'm just easy to please. We eat while her new PC runs benchmarks in the background, making her room feel like a sauna. So be honest, do you think I overspent on this? Look at her PC with its rainbow lights and enough processing power to render Pixar movies. Define overspent. I spent about $2,000. Almost choke on my food. For components? Claire, you could have gotten the same performance for $1,200. But the reviews said these were the best parts. The reviews are written by enthusiasts with more money than sense. You bought the PC equivalent of a sports car to drive to the grocery store. Are you saying I got scammed? I'm saying you definitely paid the enthusiast tax. She looks genuinely upset about this, which makes me feel bad. But hey, on the bright side, you've got a computer that'll last you like 10 years. Unless planned obsolescence makes it unusable in 3. There's the Claire I know. Help her set up all her software and organize her files. Notice she has a folder labeled Definitely Not Games, which is 100% full of games. Thought you weren't a gamer. I'm not. Those are for research purposes. Minecraft is research? I'm studying virtual economies. In creative mode? She throws a couch pillow at me, which I deserve. End up staying way later than planned, playing some co-op game she insisted wasn't for fun, but for team-building research. She's terrible at it, but refuses to admit the game has a learning curve. This game is poorly designed. The controls are counterintuitive. You're walking into walls. Because the wall hitboxes are too large. This is bad game design. Watch her character fall off a cliff for the 3rd time. Maybe read the tutorial? Tutorials are for people who can't figure things out intuitively. You installed a Wi-Fi card backwards. That was one time and I've grown since then. We play until 2 a.m. and I crash on her couch again. This is becoming a pattern and I'm not sure if I should be concerned or just accept it. Wake up to find her already awake debugging why her PC is running slow. Turns out she installed 40 different programs overnight testing things. Claire, you don't need 7 different web browsers. I'm comparing performance metrics. You're hoarding software. Help her uninstall the digital clutter she accumulated in 6 hours. But my roommate Alex calls asking where I am. Dude, you stayed over again? Just ask her out officially. We're not dating, Alex. You sleep on her couch 4 nights a week and fix her computer problems. That's a relationship. That's friendship. Friendship doesn't include you knowing her Wi-Fi password and her knowing your coffee order. He might have several points, but I refuse to examine them too closely. Claire overhears part of the conversation because I'm an idiot who doesn't use headphones. Was that Alex? Tell him I said hi. Alex says you should charge me rent since I'm here so much. Expect her to make a joke, but she just looks thoughtful. You are here a lot. Not that I'm complaining, but don't you have other friends? I have friends. That they just don't need constant tech support. So you're only here because my technology hates me? Realize this is one of those questions with a correct answer and several wrong ones. I'm here because I like hanging out with you. The tech support is just an excuse. She smiles at that, and I feel like I passed some kind of test. Good. Because I was going to feel bad about breaking my keyboard earlier just so you'd come over. You did what? I'm kidding, mostly. The spacebar is acting weird though. Check her keyboard and she literally spilled coffee on it this morning. Claire, this is just sticky. Clean your keyboard. With what? Isn't there a special solution? Isopropyl alcohol and a cloth. You know, basic cleaning supplies. I don't have isopropyl alcohol. How do you not have isopropyl alcohol? It's like $5. I've never needed it before I met you. Go to the store and buy cleaning supplies like I'm preparing for minor surgery. Come back and teach her proper computer hygiene, which she treats like a revolutionary concept. So you're telling me I should clean my keyboard regularly? Yes, Claire, like how you clean dishes and clothes. This feels like a conspiracy to sell more cleaning products. It's literally just maintaining your stuff so it lasts longer. That's what they want you to think. Clean her entire setup while she watches YouTube videos about mechanical keyboard switches. Did you know there's a whole community dedicated to customizing keyboards? Yes, Claire, I work in tech. This is not news to me. Some of these keyboards cost $500. For a keyboard. Welcome to the world of enthusiast hardware. This is madness. It's just switches and plastic, says the girl with $2,000 worth of RGB lighting. That's different. That's necessary. For your statistical models. Exactly. Finished cleaning and her setup looks actually presentable now. Wow, it looks so much better. You should do this professionally. I literally do this professionally, Claire. I mean like premium service. Charge people $300 to clean their computers. That's not a thing. It should be. Rich people pay for everything. They'd probably pay for someone to explain what RAM does. You want me to exploit rich people's ignorance? Now you're getting it. That's capitalism, baby. Coming from her, this is deeply ironic. But she orders pizza because apparently teaching me about economic theory makes her hungry. We eat and watch some documentary about tech companies avoiding taxes. See, this is what I'm talking about. Billions in profits and they pay nothing. Pretty sure they pay some taxes, Claire. Not proportionally to what they should. Can't argue with that one, honestly. Documentary ends, and we're both too full to move. Thanks for coming over, and cleaning, and teaching me stuff. Thanks for feeding me and providing entertaining rants about capitalism. You think my rants are entertaining? In a charming way, yeah. She looks pleased about that, which makes me realize I'm in deeper than I thought. Check my phone, and it's somehow 9 p.m. already. I should probably head home at some point. You could stay over again if you want. I mean, you're already here. This feels significant somehow, like we're crossing a line from friends who hang out to something else. I don't want to impose. You're not imposing. I literally broke stuff so you'd visit me. Thought you were kidding about that. I was 70% kidding. End up staying, and we watch bad movies while her PC runs some game update in the background. Fall asleep during the third movie, and wake up to her putting a blanket on me again. You keep falling asleep on my couch. Your couch is really comfortable. It's from IKEA. It cost $90. Best $90 ever spent. She sits down next to me instead of going to her room. Can I ask you something? Sure. Why do you keep helping me? Like, really? You could be charging people money instead of spending all your time here. This is definitely one of those important conversations that happen at midnight. Honestly, you're interesting. Most people I meet are boring. You ran about RAM prices and quote economics papers while building computers. It's refreshing. That's the nicest way anyone's ever called me weird. You are weird, but in a good way. You're pretty weird too. You voluntarily work in tech support. Fair point. We sit in comfortable silence for a while watching her RGB lights cycle through colors. For what it's worth, I'm glad you helped me fix my laptop that day. Me too. Even though we're probably just characters in an AI-generated story someone prompted with tech support romance. You need to stop with the existential crisis thing. Can't help it. Comes with the economics degree. She falls asleep on the couch next to me, which feels more intimate than it probably should. Carefully get up and bring her a proper pillow. She mumbles something about semiconductor tariffs in her sleep. Even unconscious, she's on brand. Grab my own blanket and try to sleep, but end up thinking about whether Alex is right. This is definitely more than friendship. Problem is, I have no idea if she feels the same way, or if I'm just her convenient tech support friend. Decide to worry about it tomorrow and finally fall asleep. Tomorrow is going to be interesting. Be me. Wake up on Claire's couch for what feels like the 100th time this month. She's already up making coffee and scrolling through tech news on her phone. Morning. You snore, by the way. I do not. You absolutely do. Sounds like a Wookiee with respiratory problems. Great way to start the day being compared to Star Wars characters. She hands me coffee and shows me an article about graphics card prices. Look at this. A 4090 is $2,000. $2,000 for a graphics card. Good morning to you too. This is NVIDIA artificially limiting supply to drive up demand. Classic monopolistic behavior. It's too early for antitrust theory. Check my phone and have 5 missed calls from Marcus. Call him back and he sounds stressed, which is unusual. Where are you? We've got a situation. What kind of situation? The kind where someone brought in a laptop they dropped in a pool and swears it just stopped working randomly. Tell him I'll be there in 30 minutes. Claire looks disappointed, which makes me feel things. You have to go? Yeah, work emergency. Someone's laptop went swimming. Let me guess, they'll blame the manufacturer for not making it waterproof. Probably, yeah. Capitalism strikes again, making products that can't survive being dropped in pools. Claire, that's not how waterproofing works. It should be, though. Grab my stuff and head out. but she stops me at the door. Hey, same time tonight? I'm making tacos. You know I can't resist tacos. I'm aware. That's why I'm bribing you with food. Get to work and the laptop situation is worse than expected. Customer brought in a MacBook that's been underwater for 6 hours. They're demanding we fix it under warranty. Marcus is using every diplomatic bone in his body to explain that water damage isn't covered. But it's supposed to be a premium product. It should survive water. Resist urge to ask if their car would survive being driven into a lake. Marcus catches my eye, and I can see him silently begging for help. Step in and examine the laptop, which is definitely beyond saving. I'm sorry, but this level of water damage has destroyed the logic board. Can't you just dry it out? It's been submerged. The corrosion alone has probably fried multiple components. Customer goes full Karen mode, demanding to speak to the owner. Marcus is the owner, which makes this awkward. They spend the next hour explaining basic physics to someone who refuses to accept reality. They finally leave threatening to leave bad reviews, which they definitely will. Thanks for backing me up. Some days I wonder why I got into this business. For the love of technology? For the love of paying rent? Technology just happened to be involved. Rest of the day is thankfully less dramatic. Fix a few screens, remove some malware, explain to an elderly customer why their computer runs slow with 40 browser toolbars. Claire texts me asking what kind of cheese I like on tacos. This girl really is bribing me with food. Get off work and head to her place still smelling like thermal paste and broken dreams. She's got her apartment set up like she's hosting a dinner party. This seems excessive for tacos. I'm testing a theory about how food quality affects mood, which affects productivity. So you're doing science. I'm doing economics. Everything is economics. Help her cook, which mostly involves me chopping vegetables while she rants about food industry supply chains. Do you know how much avocados cost now? It's insane. Supply and demand? Artificial scarcity and cartel behavior. Pretty sure it's just regular economics. That's what the cartels want you to think. Her friend Maya shows up uninvited, which Claire apparently expected. Didn't know we were having company. Maya wanted to meet the computer wizard who taught me about RAM. Maya immediately asks if I can look at her laptop, which won't stop overheating. Do I have like a sign on my forehead that says free tech support? You do give off that energy. Very helpful nerd vibes. Claire finds this hilarious while I question my life choices. End up diagnosing Maya's laptop over tacos. Turns out she's been running it on a bed blocking all the vents. You need to use it on a hard surface. Beds block airflow. But I like working in bed. Then get a laptop cooling pad. How much do those cost? Pull up Amazon and show her options starting at $20. $20 for a pad? This is ridiculous. Claire high-fives Maya like they're in some kind of anti-consumer price club. See? This is what I'm talking about. Everything is designed to extract money. It's a metal plate with fans. That's what it costs to manufacture and sell. That's what they want you to think. These two are going to radicalize each other. Maya leaves around 10 p.m. and suddenly it's just me and Claire again. Your friend is nice, also very concerned about laptop thermals. She's worried about everything. It's part of her charm. Help clean up the taco aftermath while Claire tells me about her thesis progress. So I'm arguing that consumer electronics markets exhibit characteristics of oligopolistic competition with high barriers to entry. In English, a few big companies control everything and newcomers can't compete. That's actually pretty interesting, right? And the data supports this across multiple product categories. She's genuinely excited about market failures, which is very her. We end up on our couch watching tech reviews on YouTube. These reviewers are basically just advertising for companies. Some of them are critical though. Only enough to seem credible. They still want free review units. You're very cynical about everything. I'm realistic. There's a difference. Video ends and an ad plays for some AI startup. Oh God, here we go. AI is going to save the world apparently. You don't think AI is useful? I think AI is a bubble driven by venture capital and unrealistic expectations. That's a take. It's the correct take. These companies are burning billions on machine learning models that can't even get basic facts right. Some AI is pretty impressive though. Sure, and some of it is just regurgitating training data with extra steps. You know what really gets me? What? These AI companies are scraping the entire internet without permission, using everyone's data to train models they'll charge money for. That does seem problematic. It's theft, digital colonialism. They're enclosing the commons and privatizing knowledge. She's really worked up about this, which means she's been reading articles again. Plus, they're driving up GPU prices because they need massive compute power. Do you know how much RAM these models need? I'm guessing a lot. Terabytes. They're buying up all the high-end hardware, which drives prices up for normal people. So when you complained about RAM prices earlier, it's literally AI companies' fault. They're creating artificial scarcity by hoarding compute resources. Can't really argue with her logic on this one. And don't even get me started on the environmental impact. I feel like you want me to get you started. These data centers use insane amounts of electricity. Bitcoin mining has nothing on AI training runs. Okay, but counterpoint. AI can also be useful for research and development. Sure, in theory. In practice, it's being used to generate art without paying artists and write essays for students who don't want to think. She's not wrong about any of this, which is frustrating. You know what the funniest part is? What? We're probably in an AI-generated green text right now. Some person probably typed tech support meets anti-capitalist girl into ChatGPT, and here we are. You need to stop with the meta-existential stuff. Can't help it. Once you see the patterns, you can't unsee them. What patterns? The narrative structure. But the meet cute, the will they won't they tension, the quirky personality traits, we're basically romance novel characters. That's a weird way to think about your own life. Is it though? Or is it the only rational response to living in a simulation? This conversation has gone off the rails. Claire, you're not living in a simulation. Prove it. I can't prove a negative. Exactly. You can't prove we're not in an AI story right now. Decide to change the subject before we get into Philosophy 101. So what are you doing this weekend? Probably debugging why my PC keeps blue screening? It's blue screening? Only when I run certain programs, very specific ones. Which programs? Mostly games, but that's irrelevant. Your gaming PC crashes when you game? I told you I'm not a gamer. I'm studying virtual economics. In Skyrim, there are mods for realistic economy systems. Help her troubleshoot the blue screen issue, which turns out to be a driver conflict. Fix it in 10 minutes, and she acts like I performed magic. How did you know it was the drivers? Experience. And reading the error codes. The error codes look like ancient hieroglyphics. That's because you're not used to reading them. Show her how to interpret Windows error messages. She takes notes like this is crucial life information. This is actually useful. Why don't they teach this in school? Because schools are preparing students for a job market that doesn't exist anymore. Now who's being cynical? I learned from the best. It's past midnight again, and I should probably go home. Problem is, neither of us seem to want the night to end. You know you have a toothbrush here now, and extra clothes. I do? You've left stuff here like 3 times. I washed it. This is definitely relationship territory. I should probably stop crashing here so much. Why? I don't mind. It's weird though, right? Just hanging out constantly. Only if we make it weird. She has a point. End up staying again because apparently I have no self-control. Wake up to her making breakfast, which has become routine. Morning. You talked in your sleep. What did I say? Something about thermal paste and GPU prices. Very romantic. I don't talk in my sleep. You absolutely do. Last week you were explaining RAID configurations. This is embarrassing on multiple levels. Check my phone, and Alex has sent me a long text about how I'm basically living with Claire now. Your roommate thinks we're dating. What gave him that idea? Probably the fact that I'm here more than I'm at my actual apartment. To be fair, you do spend a lot of time here. You keep breaking stuff. I told you most of that is legitimate technical issues. Most? 70% tops. She's smiling, which means she's joking, but also maybe not. Are you saying you break things on purpose so I'll come over? I'm saying that sometimes things break conveniently when I miss hanging out. This is the closest we've come to addressing whatever this is between us. That's incredibly inefficient. You could just text me. Where's the fun in that? Plus, I get to learn about computers. You're ridiculous. You like it though. Can't argue with that. Spend Saturday helping her organize her digital life. She has files everywhere, with no system whatsoever. How do you find anything? I search for it. That's what search functions are for. Or you could organize things logically. That sounds like work. Create a folder structure for her while she protests about how folders are an outdated organizational paradigm. Everything should be tag-based like emails. Then use tags. Windows doesn't support tags well. Linux does. I'm not switching to Linux just for better file organization. Teach her about file naming conventions, and she acts like I'm revealing secret knowledge. So you're telling me I should name files descriptively instead of just doc1 and stuff? Yes, Claire. That's basic digital hygiene. This changes everything. She's being sarcastic, but also starts renaming files immediately. Well, her organizational system is chaos, but at least it's organized chaos now. Get a call from Marcus asking if I can cover Sunday because someone called in sick. Can't, got plans. What plans? Personal plans. Is this about that girl you keep staying with? How does everyone know about this? You literally smell like her perfume when you come into work. It's obvious. Hang up feeling exposed. Claire heard the whole conversation because I was on speaker. So Marcus knows about us? There's no US to know about. We're just friends. Friends who spend every night together? Yes. Friends who know each other's coffee orders and computer passwords? That's just being good friends. Friends where one person fixes the other person's technology and gets paid in food and companionship. She's backing me into a conversational corner. What are you getting at, Claire? I'm getting at the fact that we've been dancing around this for weeks, and maybe we should address it. This is happening whether I'm ready or not. Address what exactly? The fact that you're basically living here, the fact that I look forward to you coming over, the fact that I might have learned to cook because I wanted an excuse for you to stay for dinner. Process this information like a computer trying to run software it's not designed for. You learned to cook for me? Among other reasons, but yes, primarily for you. That's actually really sweet. Don't let it go to your head. I'm still morally opposed to romantic gestures under capitalism. What does capitalism have to do with learning to cook? Everything is capitalism, except this apparently. This is just me being unable to figure out how to tell you I like you without making a speech about economic systems. This might be the most Claire way possible to confess feelings. For what it's worth, I like you too, even when you're ranting about RAM prices. Especially when I'm ranting about RAM prices. Especially then. We sit there awkwardly because neither of us knows what to do with this information. So what now? I guess we're dating, officially. Does this mean I have to pay you for tech support now? Absolutely not. That would compromise my integrity. Your integrity was already compromised when you started accepting payment in tacos. She's not wrong. Spend the rest of the day just hanging out without the pretense of computer problems. Turns out we actually enjoy each other's company, even when nothing's broken. We'll watch movies, cook dinner together, discuss whether we're actually living in an AI-generated reality. You know, if we are in an AI story, this is probably where the first part ends. Why? Because we just got together. That's a natural story beat. Claire. What? Please stop referring to our relationship as a narrative device. Can't help it. It's too obvious. We're hitting every romance trope. She's genuinely convinced we're fictional, which is weird, but also kind of endearing. If we're fictional, what happens in part 2? Probably conflict. Maybe my laptop breaks again. Maybe you get a better job offer. Maybe we have a fight about something stupid. That's oddly specific. I've read a lot of romance novels for research. For your economics thesis? Economics of the publishing industry. Very relevant. Fall asleep that night, actually officially dating, which feels both monumental and completely natural. Whatever happens in part 2, we'll figure it out together, probably while arguing about computer prices. Monday morning, wake up in Claire's bed instead of the couch, which feels significant. She's already awake reading something on her tablet. Morning, reading more about how corporations are ruining everything? Actually, yes. There's a new study about semiconductor supply chain manipulation. Of course there is. Want to hear about it? Do I have a choice? Not really. She launches into an explanation about chip manufacturing while I try to wake up properly. Get ready for work, and she makes me coffee to go, which is definitely girlfriend behavior. So I was thinking, dangerous. Shut up. As I was thinking maybe we should tell people we're actually dating now. People as in? Our friends. Your roommate already knows. Mine suspect. How do your friends suspect? Because I talk about you constantly, apparently. This makes me unreasonably happy. Okay, yeah, we can tell people. Not like it's a secret. Good, because Maya already asked if we're together, and I said probably. Probably? I wasn't sure of the official status. Are we official? I mean, yeah, we just established that yesterday. Right, but like Facebook official or just telling people official? I don't have Facebook. Of course you don't. Too mainstream? Too much data collection. Now who's sounding like the paranoid one? Head to work and Marcus notices immediately. You look different. I look the same, Marcus. No, you've got that look. The in a relationship look. Is that a thing? 30 years of marriage, son. I can spot it. Decide not to fight it and just admit Claire and I are dating. About time. You've been basically living there anyway. Why does everyone keep saying that? Because it's true. You smell like her apartment. How do you know what her apartment smells like? I don't. I'm assuming. Point is, you're happy, so good for you. Work is actually manageable for once. Fix a few computers, help a student with a virus problem, explain to someone why their printer hates them. Claire texts during lunch asking about graphics card comparisons. I thought you already built your PC. I'm thinking about upgrading. You built it 2 weeks ago. But there's new technology coming out. Claire, no. Claire, yes. I need to stay current. For your statistical models that are definitely not games. Exactly. She sends me links to 5,000 series cards that aren't even released yet. These don't exist yet. You can't buy them. But when they come out, I want to be ready. This is how they get you. The upgrade cycle is designed to make you feel inadequate. Are you using my own arguments against me? Is it working? Maybe. Convince her to wait at least 6 months before upgrading anything. Get off work and head to her place, which is just routine now. She's cooking again, which means she wants something. Okay, what broke? Nothing broke. Can't I just cook for my boyfriend? Boyfriend is still a weird word to hear. You can, but you usually have ulterior motives. I'm insulted. Ma, also I need help installing a second monitor. There it is. Help her set up dual monitors while she explains how this will improve her productivity. Productivity for studying virtual economies and video games, but I don't mention that. Get everything configured, and she's amazed at having 2 screens. I can have Discord on one screen and Excel on the other. Revolutionary. You're being sarcastic, but this genuinely changes everything. We eat dinner, and she shows me her thesis progress. It's actually really good, even though I only understand half of it. This section about market concentration is solid. Thanks, I've been working on it for weeks. Your professor's gonna love this. Or he'll say I'm being too critical of free markets. Isn't critical analysis the whole point? You'd think. But some economists get weird about anything that questions capitalism. Her phone buzzes with a message from Maya. Maya wants to know if we want to come to trivia night Thursday. Trivia as in bar trivia? Yeah, her friend hosts it at this brewery downtown. I'm terrible at trivia. So am I, but it'll be fun. Agree to go because apparently I'm a boyfriend who does couple things now. Thursday comes, and the trivia venue is exactly as hipster as expected. Craft beer menu longer than most novels. Edison bulbs everywhere, reclaimed wood furniture. This place screams gentrification. Claire, please don't start. I'm just saying this used to be a working class neighborhood. Can we have one night without economic commentary? I'll try, no promises. Meet up with Maya and her friend group who are all exactly like Claire. Everyone is either a grad student or works in nonprofit sector. They immediately start discussing student debt crisis. I'm the only person here who isn't writing a thesis about systemic inequality. Trivia starts, and first category is pop culture. Claire surprises me by knowing every single answer. Thought you didn't watch TV because it's corporate propaganda. I don't watch it for enjoyment. I watch it to understand media manipulation. Sure, we do terribly on the sports round because none of us follow sports. Science round goes better because Maya has a biology degree. Technology round should be my time to shine. Question is about what RAM stands for. Claire beats me to the answer and then launches into a rant about RAM prices. Can you save the speech for after trivia? Sorry. It's reflexive at this point. We end up in third place, which everyone treats like a massive victory. Maya's team buys a round to celebrate not losing completely. Claire orders some IPA that probably cost $10. You know these craft breweries are just as corporate as macro brewers now. Claire. What? It's true. They all get bought by InBev eventually. Maybe just enjoy the beer? I am enjoying it. I can enjoy things and critique them simultaneously. Walk home because it's nice out and Claire is slightly tipsy. That was fun. We should do that more often. Trivia or listening to you explain market dynamics? Both. I'm a multifaceted girlfriend. Girlfriend is still a weird word, but I'm getting used to it. You are definitely multifaceted. Is that a nice way of saying I'm a lot? It's a nice way of saying you're interesting. She stumbles slightly and I catch her arm. Okay, maybe I had too much overpriced beer. How much did you have? 3 pints, but they were strong. Get her home and she immediately wants to show me something on her computer. It can wait until tomorrow. No. You have to see this. Someone wrote a paper about AI companies exploiting open source software. Claire, you're drunk. I'm tipsy. There's a difference. She pulls up the paper anyway and starts reading it out loud. See? They're using open source code. and then charging people for the products they build with it. That's generally how software business works. But it shouldn't. The whole point of open source is sharing. She's getting worked up about software licensing while drunk, which is very on brand. How about we discuss this tomorrow when you're sober? I'm sober enough. Did you know GitHub is owned by Microsoft? Yes, Claire, everyone knows that. And Microsoft is training AI models on all the code people upload. I've heard. That's theft, digital theft. Help her to bed, because this conversation isn't going to end otherwise. You're a good boyfriend even when I'm ranting about tech companies. Someone has to listen to your economic theories. They're not theories, they're documented facts. Whatever you say, Claire. She falls asleep immediately, and I clean up her apartment a bit. Notice she has a photo of us from trivia night on her desk. She must have taken it when I wasn't looking. This whole relationship thing is becoming real. Crash on the couch even though she'd probably be fine with me sleeping next to her. Still feels too fast somehow. Wake up to her making hangover breakfast. Morning. Thanks for dealing with drunk me. You weren't that drunk, just passionate about software licensing. Oh God. Did I rant about Microsoft? Extensively. Sorry, I get intense about that stuff. I noticed. Eat breakfast, and she's quieter than usual. Everything okay? Yeah, just thinking. About what? About how I actually really like you, and I'm worried I'm going to mess this up. Wasn't expecting vulnerability this early in the morning. Why would you mess it up? Because I'm intense about everything. I rant constantly. I break expensive electronics. I'm basically a walking red flag. You're not a red flag. You're just passionate. That's a nice way of putting it. Claire, I wouldn't be here if I didn't want to be. I like that you care about things. Even when those things are RAM prices, especially RAM prices. She smiles at that, which makes this whole relationship worth it. Spend the weekend doing normal couple stuff. Watch movies, cook together. She teaches me about market economics while I teach her about network protocols. It's weirdly perfect even when we're arguing about whether blockchain is useful. It's a solution looking for a problem. Some people use it for legitimate purposes. 5% use it legitimately. The rest is speculation and scams. You really hate everything, don't you? I don't hate things. I'm just realistic about systems designed to extract value. Monday I go to work and Marcus asks how the weekend was. Good, normal. Normal as in you fixed her computer again? Normal as in we just hung out? Look at you being all domestic. It's not domestic. We just spent time together. That's what domestic means. Get through the day without thinking too much about relationship stuff. Claire texts asking if I want to watch a documentary about data privacy. Is this a date? It's us watching educational content together while eating pizza. So a date, if you want to call it that. Show up with pizza, and she's got the documentary queued up. It's actually interesting even though it's depressing. Learn about all the ways corporations track everything we do. This is why I use a VPN. You use a VPN? Of course I use a VPN. I'm not stupid. I literally watch you use public Wi-Fi without protection. That's different. It's really not. Convince her to install a proper VPN and she acts like I'm teaching her magic. How did I not know about this? Because you focus on economic theory instead of practical security. Those are both important. One of them keeps your data safe though. Documentary ends and she's fired up about surveillance capitalism. We should delete all our social media. I barely use social media. Me neither, but we should delete it on principle. Or we could just limit what we share. That's not radical enough. Not everything has to be radical, Claire. She thinks about this for a minute. You're probably right, but someone should be radical. That someone can be you. I'll be the practical one. We're a good team. We really are. Fall asleep watching another documentary about tech industry monopolies. Wake up tangled together on the couch, which is becoming our signature move. Check my phone, and Alex has sent a message asking if I still live at our apartment. Your roommate is concerned. He's being dramatic. I was home 3 days ago. 3 days ago was last week. Okay, maybe I should go home occasionally. You don't have to. I like having you here. I like being here, but I should probably maintain my own place. Why? This is more efficient. We're minimizing housing redundancy. Did you just apply economic theory to our living situation? Everything is economics. Go home that night, and Alex is watching TV. Oh, you're alive. Was starting to wonder. I've been busy. Busy living with your girlfriend. We're not living together. I just stay there sometimes. 4 nights a week is not sometimes. That's basically cohabitation. It's not that many nights. I have a calendar I've been tracking. That's weird, Alex. What's weird is you're paying rent for a place you don't live in. He's not wrong, but I don't want to think about the implications. Next day at work, Marcus brings up the same thing. You know, if you're basically living with her, you should probably make it official. We just started dating a few weeks ago, and you've been staying there every night since before you started dating. Not every night. Most nights then. Why does everyone care about my living situation? Because you're young and making it complicated for no reason. Think about this all day while fixing computers. Maybe everyone has a point. Maybe I should just acknowledge I'm basically living there anyway. Bring it up with Claire that night. So people keep pointing out that I'm here a lot. You are here a lot. Would it be weird if I was here more, like officially? Define officially. Like if I moved in, with you. She looks surprised, which is fair, since we've been dating less than a month. That's very fast. I know, forget I said anything. But not wrong. You're here constantly. Your stuff is here. You know where everything is. So that's a yes? That's a we should probably talk about it like adults yes. Have an actual conversation about logistics and expectations. Turns out we're both terrible at traditional relationship timelines. Most people would think this is too fast. Most people don't spend every night together before officially dating. Fair point. Plus my lease is up in 2 months anyway. So this is economically efficient? Everything is economics, remember? End up agreeing that I'll gradually move stuff over instead of making it a big dramatic thing. Tell Alex, who acts like he saw this coming from miles away. Called it. You two have been living together, you just didn't want to admit it. We're admitting it now. Good. Saves me from having to keep pretending you live here. Moving in is weirdly easy because most of my stuff is already at Claire's. Bring over my clothes, computer parts, and the few personal items I actually care about. Claire makes space in her closet and acts like it's not a big deal. This is nice. Having your stuff here officially. Glad my computer peripherals make you happy. It's not about the stuff, it's about the commitment. Commitment to what? Arguing about RAM prices together? Exactly. That's love right there. Settle into living together like we've been doing it for years. Develop routines where she cooks and I clean. She rants about capitalism while I fix whatever broke that day. It's domestic in a weird, chaotic way. Her thesis gets accepted and she's officially graduating next month. This is huge, Claire. It's just a master's degree. It's your master's degree about exposing corporate monopolies. When you put it that way, it sounds cooler. Celebrate by going out to dinner at a place that's definitely too expensive. We're participating in the very system I wrote about. Sometimes you have to participate in systems to survive them. Did you just quote my thesis at me? Maybe you're rubbing off on me. Graduation day arrives, and I meet her parents for the first time. They're surprisingly normal considering their daughter is an anti-capitalist economist. Her dad works in finance, which explains some things. So you're the computer person our daughter keeps talking about. That's me. She says you're very patient. It's a necessary skill when your girlfriend wages war on consumer electronics. Her mom laughs at this while Claire looks embarrassed. I don't wage war, I just have strong opinions. Very strong opinions. Graduation ceremony is long and boring, but Claire looks happy. She gives me a copy of her thesis signed with a note. For teaching me that not all technology is evil, just most of it. It's the most Claire thing ever. That night she gets a job offer from a think tank studying tech policy. This is perfect for you. It's basically getting paid to rant about things I already rant about. Living the dream. Our dream. The one where we're definitely characters in an AI-generated story. Claire. What? You can't deny the narrative structure at this point. We're not in a story. That's exactly what a character would say. This argument is never going to end. But honestly, I wouldn't want it to. Life with Claire is chaotic, passionate, full of rants about semiconductor supply chains. It's also somehow perfect. We're building a life together, one tech problem at a time. And yeah, maybe we're in an AI-generated green text. Or maybe we're just two people who found each other through broken laptops and RAM complaints. Either way, I'm keeping her. Even if she never stops ranting about capitalism.
The broken screen, laptop making sounds obscene. Started ranting right away about the price she had to pay. Thermal paste and dusty fans, I showed her how with my own hands. She quoted Marx while fixing RAM. Economics was her jam. She said the system's all a scam. Complained about the price of RAM, but something happened when she smiled. This anti-capitalist drove me wild. Now she's calling me at 2 a.m. Something's broken once again. Wi-Fi cards installed all wrong, but I don't mind, I'll play along. Tech support turned into more. Fixing laptops led to something pure. She rants about AI companies while cooking dinner just for me. Just for me. Built her PC RGB, cost 2,000, she agreed. Said it's for her research work, but Minecraft's running in the network. Coffee dates and late night calls, purple monitors and system stalls. She swears we're in an AI tale, generated on a massive scale. Maybe she's right, who can say? Live in this rom-com every day. Meet cute over broken tech. What comes next, I'll have to check. Now she's calling me at 2 a.m. Something's broken once again. Driver conflicts, blue screen blues. She's the chaos that I choose. Tech support turned into more. Fixing laptops led to something pure. She rants about semiconductor greed, while I'm exactly where I need to be. Are we code or are we real? Does it matter how we feel? If we're just a prompted story, at least it ends in glory. No more calling me at 2 a.m. Everything works perfect, then moved in together. Leases signed, anti-capitalist, but she's mine. Tech support turned into love. Broken laptops weren't enough. She still rants about AI lies, but I see truth in her eyes. In her eyes. Yeah, she's still ranting about RAM, but I wouldn't change who I am. Living in this AI dream or reality, or in between. In between.